The Happiest Man on Death Row. A sad title for perhaps an even sadder crime. Immediately, you and I both know that something is off here. How can anyone be happy on death row? Tonight, we will hear about the tragic story of one man's persecution and how wrong everything is and can be.
Are you going to open up with a song? I mean, I'm cool with that. But...
I mean, she's like ready for the shot.
No, I'm just.
Go ahead. Open
I'm
up with
also ready for the shot. This is still like, I've done a good job with our shots. So.
What the fuck is with these lights, man? Ugh. Go ahead and open up with the thing. I gotta fix these damn lights.
You gotta say your thing. Welcome to Talk Murder.
No, you feel like you ready to go, so we all ready to go.
No, that's not what I was doing.
We are thankful for surprise shots, and we are ready to get into them.
Okay, if y'all are ready.
I am so ready.
Dust on here from the floor.
I really like these headphones. They just look really weird, right?
Yeah, they look like you're channeling Nash.
But they're so comfortable, especially for doing this.
Yeah.
Well,
you know,
you look very comfortable right now.
I'm in my Joe Rogan chair.
Wow.
It's my Joe Rogan chair. Thank you so much for our
Merry
Patreon
Christmas.
supporters. Merry Christmas.
What the fuck? That was your Christmas present.
Christmas ain't till next month.
It's exactly 30 days from tomorrow.
You
so
can't.
31 days.
You know. I better have something under that tree. I'm just saying.
I got you a little something.
A little. It better be as expensive as this.
Oh, screw that. You know what? My present is already under the tree, which is the floors.
Yeah.
That is the present.
Which cost 10 times as much as this chair.
Yeah.
My present is going to be pictures from catalogs that I'm going to cut out and give to you guys. Because that's about where my bank account is right now.
Are you cutting out a tree too?
No, I have
construction
a tree.
paper.
Maybe.
I was going to make a gratitude tree. I forgot.
You were?
Yeah. But I don't know. I just found something probably more important. I can't remember what it was. Oh. Something not to do with you guys. Maybe I was jerking it or something. I don't know. Shit.
You know what would be a great idea? A gratitude tree. I'm not going to remember this in the morning, but... Well, I'm thankful for you guys.
I'm thankful for you. And we're having our very own Thanksgiving together in just a couple hours.
Yes.
When we're done recording, the turkey will be done.
Yes.
Popped.
Surprise shots. Surprise shots. We don't know what they are because they're a surprise. We don't know who this one was for, do we?
That is for Megan. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you, Megan. Ooh, I like that. Grapefruit.
Oh, that was really good.
That was Kinky Ruby, a fusion of grapefruit, kiwi, and elderflower.
I like that.
Elderflower.
I could drink that like juice.
Straight up.
Is that from the elderberry?
Yes. No,
yeah,
elderflower.
I think, I don't know. Can
we open this?
I think we should. I really want to. So we got a package in the mail from Taco Supremo D.
It's addressed to John and Nicole Perry and Ken Jollins.
I like that this Ken Jollins thing is really picking up speed.
It's caught on. I didn't expect
I saw you commenting on our on the blog as Ken Jollins as well.
I did. New Mexico Pinon Coffee.
Hell yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
Ooh. All right, Jen, you pick which one you want. You want the chocolate one?
There's another box in here.
Oh, shit.
Ooh. Look at that.
Oh, we're going to fight each other for this mug.
I'll tell you what. You can have the mug so you don't have to fight anyone.
I have an obsession with mugs. I freaking love coffee mugs.
Thank you, Dee.
That coffee is bomb.
Bussin'.
OMG. I mean, seriously, I have an obsession with coffee mugs. It's kind of a problem.
So this past week, I got a couple of messages. One from our good friend Brandon,
Hey, Brandon.
He said, I mentioned it to John on the comments, but you were talking about the Knowledge Generation Bureau. I wanted to work for them so bad, he said. So when I was talking about the KJB,
the KGB?
KGB, that was the Knowledge Generation Bureau.
Oh, this is a thing that you were talking about where you call someone.
There was a text number, and it was like Google, but text message.
So yeah, he says on his comment, now that makes sense. Well, no, I said that. No, he said Jen was talking about the Knowledge Generation Bureau. It was a text service that had experts answer things instead of using a SEO style answer, kind of like a Quora. What's that site?
Oh, Quora.
Oh, yeah, Quora.
Yeah, but you just text it. That's weird. I mean, why
I
would
had never heard that before.
Yeah,
Really?
why would they name it KGB? Like, why would they name it KGB? They had to do that on purpose.
Someone finds it funny. So
Yeah, but-
there's someone out there that's like,
Let me text the
"Bah,
KGB." Yeah.
But as a business, I mean, no one.
Well, by that time, the KGB was no longer the KGB.
I know, but it's just like if you're
the
going to
FSB.
open a business, you don't want to like alienate people and have them not text because they think it's the freaking government. I don't know.
Of Russia.
Luke sent a message to the Instagram account, said, wow, love you guys, and just stumbled across your cast on Nevaeh Buchanan. I live in the shitty little town she was murdered in. Her grandmother was a cashier at my local grocery store. My boss donated a bunch of wreaths in the weeks following the discovery of her body. It was a gross and weird time in Monroe, Michigan. Thanks for your work. Love you guys, Luke.
Oh, wow. I remember that
cool.
one.
Rachel says about the Andrei Chikatilo, the Russian one that we did, the serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
You remember when I said that his blood DNA was different from his semen DNA?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so she says, I believe it's called a non-secretor. Ew.
Ew. Ooh, that's like one of the worst words,
Secrete.
I think. Secrete.
Oh, I'm about to secrete. Oh, shit. I'll secrete me, baby.
Oh, my
Secrete me, baby.
Oh, God.
Stop. Ooh, I think so. Like a lot of people are freaked out by the word moist. I think like that's the appropriate word for like cake. Like it's moist. That's it. That's what it's supposed to be. So it doesn't freak me out. But yeah, secretion. Ooh.
Also, when we say Andre's last name, it always reminds me of ABBA. Chiquitita, tell me what's wrong.
I think John started playing that the other day on guitar, and I was like, "Yes, play."
Did you see the new Mamma Mia?
2? No.
Yeah. Oh well, we can watch that.
Was it good?
It was okay. I think they're making a third one actually.
All right, one more last thing before we get started. So don't hold me to the 300 by the first. Probably not going to happen.
Why you say that?
It was my fault.
Well, somebody decided to rip all the floors out of the damn house.
You can blame me. It's fine.
So I might not make that, but I will still do the $300. And all this is my cash, and I don't have a lot of it, but so I still will do the $300 for the person that gives me the episode on the 300 one.
Well, we might be able to make it because I could come over like a couple of days during winter break.
But I still got to research the damn things. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
So if I can do
I still
more.
have to do my research on the Lizzie Borden story.
There you go. That can catch us up by one.
Every time I release an episode, there's going to be a drawing on the blog. And all you got to do is leave a comment. And this is just to show my appreciation to you guys commenting on this blog, because it really makes me happy seeing you guys talking and we're having some good conversations and stuff. So those guys that leave comments anyway, it'll be super easy. Leave the comment right above the comment box. You'll see a little box, and you just enter and then you enter the email that you used to comment, and make sure it's the email address that's linked to your Amazon account, because every week I'm going to give away $25 Amazon gift card on a weekly basis. And it's going to be a random drawing for the commenters, but I'm not going to email you or anything. It's just going to be sent directly to that email address, a $25 gift card. Amazon's got it set up like that where you can just do that.
Is Ken Jollins eligible?
Ken Jollins is not eligible.
No, anyone's eligible. Anybody's eligible. You leave a comment and you can actually enter 3 times. So if we do 3 episodes a week, you have 3 chances basically. Just leave a comment, a good comment or whatever, shout me out or whatever. And then just put your email address in there that you already put to use your comment anyway. So we'll do that and see how it works. That's just a little present for me. Get back to you guys. You know.
Merry Christmas.
But today's story is a request from Malachi.
Oh, Malachi.
Hot damn. Malachi.
This is actually a fantastic story. And the next story after this one, this is kind of an old school story. And I don't know, the name of the guy of the story is Joe Arridy. Have you heard of him?
Mm-mm.
Nobody? Oh, yeah, I didn't think you would. But that's the story we're doing today. For the next episode, we've got a request for another Randy Starish episode. I actually really liked that episode.
Yeah, I did too.
Not only that, but a lot of people are loving that episode.
It was good conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a lot of, people just didn't know about that guy at all, you know? So we got a request to do another one. It's kind of a smaller story, but there's a really interesting link between two killers that I'll kind of go into on that story. But anyway, let's get started with this one. All right. So anyway, if this is your first episode, my name is John. Welcome to the Talk Murder to Me podcast. I'm here with Jen and Nicole. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about the case of Joe Arridy. You can find all these photos and evidence and stuff like that on talkmurder.com. Just click on the post there. You'll see it front and center. And you can comment on there if you want and get a chance to win a gift card. Looking at the picture you see right there that I'll put on talkmurder.com, Can you tell me when do you think this story takes place?
1950s. Yes.
62.
There were 62. So describe what you're looking at. So
Two girls.
So I'm showing you two girls, one younger, one older. They're sisters. Okay.
I will say the one on the left looks like the actress that plays Allison in Pretty Little Liars.
I never saw that show.
I can't remember her name, but she does look like her.
So you're going to describe these people or not?
Well, the first girl has her hair pulled back, and she's wearing like a sleeveless dress.
Maybe like 15 years old, I'm going to say.
Yeah, 16 maybe.
And the other is much younger.
Although she's wearing lipstick.
Yeah, she is wearing lipstick.
So
and
either
makeup.
she's younger,
trying to look older,
or she's the older sister but died younger, and because that photo looks much older.
Yeah.
Well, you know why girls wore lipstick back then, right?
Why?
You think I'm going to say something sexist or something?
I am
No, not
awaiting
you.
your response.
Never. You would never do that.
No, the reason why girls wore lipstick and why it became so popular is because during the Depression, the Great Depression, you could go and a woman could go and buy a cheap thing of lipstick and make herself
Feel better
about herself and be more confident. In the Depression era, where everyone was struggling and suffering, it was
So is
cheap.
this the 1920s?
Well, no, it's not in the 1920s.
But
well,
that's
close.
where it looks like where the picture is taken because of
It
hairstyle.
is like that
So maybe the
hairstyle,
30s?
flapper
But that's where lipstick got really popular from.
I will say I don't like the way that I look with lipstick.
I
I
don't
think
either.
it makes me look gaudy.
I don't like it.
It's
either.
just, I don't know. I feel like it's caked on, and I look weird with a dark lip.
Are you putting it on right?
I also have really thin lips. Like I don't have like
no stuff there.
thin lips and a flat ass. So
Did you say flat ass?
yeah, flat ass.
Like the earth.
Like I have an old man's ass.
Pancake.
Yeah,
Pancake.
We're going to 10 p.m. August 15th, 1936.
Oh,
We're going to Pueblo. Do you know where Pueblo is?
Yeah,
Pueblo.
Colorado.
There you go, Colorado. 1536 Stone Avenue, Pueblo, Colorado. This is the home of Riley and Peggy Drain. Now, who you're looking at right there are the daughters of the Drains. This is the Drain murder we're talking about. So these two girls here, both sisters, even though they really don't look like sisters to me at all. They are both, or one of them is about to get murdered. They're both about to get brutally attacked.
Oh no.
The youngest one, which is the one there on the right, she's the only survivor in this tragic event that happened 1936. 1536 Stone Avenue. All right, the Drain House consisted of Dorothy, which is her on the left. She is 15 years old. Barbara, she is there on the right. She's 12. That's the one with lipstick, which is kind of weird. Well, maybe the other one is wearing lipstick. I do see that actress that you're talking about, though. I know I've seen an actress that looked like her.
Google it real quick. Allison from Pretty Little Liars. I don't know what her name is, though.
Allison from Pretty Little Liars. Allison De Laurentiis.
De Laurentiis. That was a character name.
Okay, she is played by...
Is it Bethany
Sasha
something? Sasha
Petterfirst. Sasha Petrus.
Petrus?
Sasha Petrus. Pieterse. Yeah, she does look just like her. Holy shit. Yeah, you're right. Damn, good call.
Can you show in a quiz?
There was also a younger son there, Billy. He was 9 years old, but he wasn't... I don't think he was there that night. I think he was with mom and dad, even though I didn't see where they took him with them, because both mom and dad were in town still, but they were at like this banquet. Okay. So dad, and when I say dad, I meant Riley Drain and Peggy Drain, his wife. And this is 1936. So this is after the Great Depression, right? It just kind of ended, I think, in the 30s, right? 31 or something like that.
Yeah, early 30s.
Both the mother and father were at a banquet for Riley, the father's job. His job was, he worked with Parks and Rec, like that show. He worked on the show.
Great show.
He was the casting agent of that show. So
False. He was not.
But do you know Roosevelt's New Deal?
Yes.
Okay, what was that?
He enacted programs that were funded by the government that helped put Americans to work, and it helped create infrastructure in the United States. Like, I think the Hoover Dam was part of that, right?
Highways and railroads.
Yeah, so exactly. And parks and recreation centers.
Oh, yeah. He was the one that put the state park, like protection onto the state parks.
Well, he's the one that ultimately built all the parks, because it provided jobs to build all the parks. Like during the Depression, they're not building parks and shit.
Right.
Everyone's suffering. And they didn't really have parks to begin with. That's what his New Deal was. I don't really know too much about it, but I do know the dad, Riley, worked at, like, not directly under Roosevelt or whatever, but in that organization that was directly put in place by Roosevelt.
I think the Golden Gate Bridge was part of the New Deal as well.
So they were at this banquet dance until about 2 a.m. Now, they left their kids at home, the daughters right there, and because they'll only be gone for a few hours. They'll be back at 2. There's nothing going to happen to them, right? They'll keep the lamp on, block the doors, everything's fine. They come back and things are not fine. The first thing the mother notices, and this is 2 a.m. when they come home, is the light is off. So she had turned the light on, and then the daughters went to bed. So the light being off right there told the mother something's not right, because the daughters were already in bed and they're not going to get up and turn the light off. Does it make sense? And when I'm saying light, the newspapers that I was looking at, they said the word lamp instead of light. So it's not like a light switch. I think it was a burning lamp.
Like a lantern or something?
Like a lantern or something like that. So that was, it was completely dark in the house. The mother knows instantly something is wrong. Now, before we get to the brutal murder and stuff like that, I got to shout out the book I read for this. So as I said before, this is a request from Malachi. Thank you so much, Malachi. This is a crazy story, fantastic story, and super happy that I read this book. This is one of the best books I've ever read.
Wow.
And looking at it, it doesn't look like it, right? It looks like a freaking color book. Look how big it is.
Yeah, it does look like a color book, actually.
It's freaking huge. I was like, what the hell is this?
Book or
like the
something.
serial killer color book.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can't put this in my pocket and carry it around. I mean, it does not look like a true crime book. Anyway, it's called Deadly Innocence by Robert Persky. And it is fan-freaking-tastic. This dude, he had heard about this case, and he, by himself and the help of, the counties involved and stuff like that, dug up all this information from what was left of it and put together an amazing book. And this is one of the best I've read, and I didn't think it would be. I thought it would just be kind of, it looks like a freaking big ass coloring book. So anyway, that's what Nicole's going to be reading from tonight. And I'll put that on talkmore.com if you guys want to go check that out. I have been getting a lot of people going and checking those books out, though, so it's kind of cool. Anyway, if you want to read this, Nicole.
When the couple returned, the light in the front room was off. Once inside the home, Riley heard a groan. He hurried to the girl's bedroom and turned on the light. On a blood-soaked bed, he found Dorothy, a great gash in her back of her head, one of her eyes blackened and her mouth bruised. She was lying face down on the outside of the bed. Barbara, still groaning, was on the other side of the bed toward the wall, curled up. She had been struck on the head in the same manner as her sister. Both girls were clad in nightgowns.
So both girls were struck with a sharp object, probably a hatchet, but it wasn't at the scene. So the police, they don't know for sure, but the girls, the skulls had the cut marks in it like you would see from a hatchet. But it could have been a fucking sword, who knows? Like a samurai sword.
Dorothy received a wound behind her ear that was nearly 3 inches long and had cut into her brain. The black eye and facial bruises showed that the perpetrator also had beaten her severely with fists, and she had been raped.
So the teenage girl, 15-year-old, and her sister brutally bludgeoned. The 15-year-old was dead, and she had been raped. So Barbara had 2 blows. This is the 12-year-old. 2 blows, but from the blunt edge. So her skull wasn't cut in like Dorothy's was. You could see Dorothy's skull because when you hit it with an axe, that sharp part is going to penetrate the skull. Barbara, on the other hand, the 12-year-old, they hit her with the blunt edge, which I don't think that's the back of the axe. I think that's just not the rectangle edge. That's the other end. Now, why wouldn't the perpetrator use the sharp end? I was trying to think of that. Maybe it's because, you want to take a guess why? Like, why would you not use the sharp end?
He didn't want to kill her.
He did want to kill her. He thought he was dead. He thought she was dead, 100%. I feel like...
He was afraid of blood.
Maybe he felt the blood splatter would be worse with the sharp end. Like, it would go backsplash instead of just being able to hit and strike, and you'd have to worry about it going into the skull and then pulling it out.
Well, he did that with the older daughter. I don't know the reason. I didn't see that, but I did put it in the notes because I thought it was kind of weird why he did that. What comes to my mind is it is after 2 a.m. or it is after midnight at this point, and it's pitch black. The light was off. So, and a town like this, especially going through the Depression, it's not like here in Mount Pleasant where everyone's got their lights on all the freaking time, and we got hue lights and they do all kinds of crazy disco shit.
And then inflatables for Christmas.
Yeah, like a big ass inflatable Santa.
It'll probably be up this weekend. Not at my house, at one of my neighbors.
Our neighbor has the lights that flash at the house. They're already up.
The ones that like the ones that are not on the house,
like a
but
laser.
the one,
Yeah.
I have to get my lights up, but I need a taller ladder to get some on the peak of the house.
I don't know if this is why or not, but it is pitch black. It's not like today we have lights on all the time. In this neighborhood, you have that one lantern, and most houses don't have it on because they're trying to conserve energy because they don't make a lot of money. Everyone works at the same mill downtown, and everyone pretty much makes the same. So anyone that's burning a lot of lights, that you won't see that. So what I'm trying to say is the whole neighborhood is pitch black, which means you can't see anything at all. You don't have any of that light pollution. So in my mind, I think he just mistakenly hit her. From what the police said in their report and what they're thinking is the perpetrator went in, hit the older girl, Dorothy, and started raping her at that time, and then probably didn't know about the younger girl, Barbara, And she'll come to eventually. She was in a coma, but she starts screaming, "Hey, get out of here, get out of here." Now he's freaking out. He's already got his pants off because he's, doing his thing. And so he just picks up the axe and just hits her with it. I think it was a mistake that he did it. I don't know, though. That's weird because I don't think if you're going to go and rape a child, especially in this time, 1930s, I don't think you want to leave any witnesses. I'm just saying. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want to make sure they're dead. I know what you're saying. So Barbara had 2 blows from the blunt edge. Her skull had not been penetrated. She was not raped. Her condition was grave. She was in a deep coma, but she survived. She couldn't tell much. She couldn't tell much.
So she didn't see what was going. Not that she remember.
She couldn't remember. Plus, it all happened so fast. She did say that. Obviously, a guy came in there when they were questioning her once she woke up, and this was several months later. She said, yeah, someone came in here and I was screaming at him, everything else. And the reason I'm saying that is because that there's going to be talk later of maybe there was 2 perpetrators instead of 1.
Oh.
Yeah. So this paper right here is the Times, Shreveport, Louisiana, 11th October 1936. The title is How the Policeman's Hunch Solved the Perfect Crime at the Victim's Funeral. If you want to read this.
Where is Riley Drain? The man demanded.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me preface this. You have one dead girl, 15-year-old, and everyone is up in arms about it. Now, this is during the time where they're lynching people for all kinds of stuff. So that's a real threat. You don't want to even be suspected of something like this because you will be lynched. And that was a real threat back then. So, and not only that, but there was so much pressure to solve this because these are regular working folks. He works directly under Roosevelt's New Deal. And they're not rich or anything, but they're just the everyday people. And this could screw up everything. So there's a lot of pressure for the police to solve this murder, and they'll do about damn anything to solve it. And we see that today. They do about damn anything to solve it. A lot of the cases. So what the sheriff did, and we see this a lot today, is he got a couple of his deputies and posted them up kind of incognitus at the victim's funeral. So this is Dorothy, the 15-year-old's funeral. Now they were kind of just mingling with the crowd and stuff like that. I believe everyone knew they were deputies because in a town like this, you kind of know who people are, but maybe they weren't, maybe they were just there for a respect thing. They weren't trying to be on duty or whatever. Anyway, there was a guy that came up to the deputies, and the 2 deputies that were talking to him immediately got a real suspicious vibe from him. And this is what they said. This is from the Times, Shreveport, Louisiana, 11th October, 1936.
Where's Riley Drain? The man demanded. I know him well. I'm his friend. I ought to see him. I ought to go right there and stay with him. Why, I knew the little girls very well, knew them by their first names. The man babbled on and on. Butler and Mikitich exchanged glances, and when they compared thoughts later, they discovered that both arrived at the same conclusion simultaneously. This is the killer.
Okay, so obviously that's kind of a leap, right? Yeah, I mean, they're immediately saying that this is the killer. Some guy that just came and said, "Where's Riley Drain?" Apparently, the guy that came up used to work under Riley Drain. He was like, one of his subordinate. And that's just going to show you that there's so much pressure to solve this that they're literally pulling anyone that came up to him. And I mean, because he didn't say that much right there. And it turns out the guy worked with him and he was just trying to pay his condolences. But anyway, that is the guy. This is the guy, definitely, from what they thought. Now, let's talk a little bit about the crime scene real quick. The story is going to be kind of dense, so I'm going to kind of go through some things really quick. But it's really interesting. You guys will love it. There was a few footprints in the backyard leading to the alleyway. So the backyard was what was taken. All right, then these little details are extremely important. The backyard was taken. Okay, nothing in the house was stolen. Nothing was disturbed at all. There was no breakages of anything. It was it was a sneak attack. The girls didn't. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, no, go ahead. I'll let you finish your thought.
The girls didn't even know that there was someone there. He basically came in the front door. That's what they're thinking anyway, which should have been locked, but I guess it wasn't, or maybe he came in through the window. I mean, in 1936, houses weren't, break-in proof back then, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So the burglar came in, or the perp came in, shut off the light, the lamp, blew it out or whatever, and then go straight to the bedroom, which you'll hear in the reports later that the police were talking about, well, the killer must knew exactly where the bedrooms were. Well, if you Google if you Google Earth the house, at least the lot, I don't know if it's the same house that's there now, but it's even now it's a tiny house. You go in the front door, the kitchen's on the left, the living room's on the right, and what else is there? It's a one-story place, so obviously the bedrooms are at the back, and then you just run out the back door, which is what happened. So
unless they knew the killer.
Yeah. And plus, I want to say most of the houses, I believe, I'm not a historic house expert, but I believe they were pretty much all built the same. I mean, they're all built the same now, pretty much.
Yeah.
A builder comes in and just builds them all.
A couple different templates, but yeah.
5 feet away from each other.
Yeah.
So you can touch your neighbor's house.
So nothing was taken. Nothing was disturbed. 2 weeks earlier, an elderly lady in the same neighborhood, 2 weeks earlier. And you're probably like, well, why did the parents let their 15-year-old and 12-year-old stay home after this? On Sunday, August 2nd, 2 weeks earlier before the Drain murders, 3 blocks away, Sally Crumpley, the 72-year-old elderly lady, was killed in the exact same fashion. 2 other women were also attacked from behind, but unsuccessfully. So whoever did this, one man tried to choke them, put them in a chokehold or whatever, and it was completely random. They weren't successful, but that was in the same neighborhood. What I'm trying to say is this one guy is doing this to this neighborhood from what it looks like. Also, right after that, a Miss R.O. McMurdy, like on The Wire, right? McMurdy?
No, that's McNulty.
Oh, shit. Damn it. Why'd you ruin that for me?
I just wanted to be accurate.
Who's McMurdy?
That is from something.
Miss R.O. McMurdy, 58, was nearly killed by one guy. Same thing. Both heads bludgeoned with the same type of instrument. In the same city, Pueblo. Right down the road from each other. Same. It's the same guy. I mean, come on, let's just be honest. It's the same fucking guy. But the reason I'm thinking, because I was like, well, someone just got murdered 2 weeks ago. Why would you leave your kids at home?
Yeah.
I don't think they probably even knew that, because, all right, it's a pretty big town. Everyone works at the mill, but it's not like social media where you just get news up to date, you vibrating your pants like today, you know what I'm saying? Like news travels pretty slow. I don't know why.
No, you're right.
I definitely wouldn't have left them girls home if it was me. I don't know. So anyway, now the policemen at the funeral, they found the killer. And from this time on, this is going to be the killer. That's him, because the pressure that the police are feeling, the sheriff's feeling, is overwhelming. They got to put someone behind bars and they got to kill someone. Damn it. This is 1936. We got to freaking kill someone. This man was a Mexican man and a friend of the father's. They go into his, and I'm reading this directly from the newspapers, and I'll put these on talkmore.com, but the 2 detectives go to his, quote, squalid one-room home, end quote, and he has several newspaper clippings tacked to the wall about the murder. Now, this is from the police report. I'm not saying any of this is true. This guy denied it basically until they put him to death. Okay.
Wow.
So he denied it up and down. But there was a basket, and in the basket held firewood. Under the firewood, they found a, quote, rusty head of a hatchet, end quote. They also, when asked about, it wasn't bloody or anything. It should have been real bloody. When the media asked the sheriff, was there blood on the hatchet? no, there was no blood on it. It's been washed off. You know, the blood's been washed off. That didn't mean that there was any blood ever there, but they found this
They're
rusty.
jumping to conclusions.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to get you guys to figure out. Yeah, they're jumping pretty freaking hard at conclusions.
Because they want to solve the case.
They're trying to make it fit, make the pieces fit.
Okay, so here's going to even validate that more. The chief of police, which is not a photography expert or a forensic expert of any kind, takes photos of the dead girl, the 15-year-old Dorothy Drain. I don't know how they did this in 1936, but he said he enlarged the photos. I don't know how he would do that. Maybe they had some technique or whatever. And then he matched the hatchet, and the hatchet marks were identical to the marks left in her head. Which, all right, I have several things wrong with this. Number one, it's not like you have 37 companies making hatchets. You buying one hatchet, they're using the same freaking hatchet. Everyone's hatchet matches the freaking girl's head.
If you're buying it at the local hardware store, yeah. There's probably like one manufacturer.
Number two, everyone owns a damn hatchet. You got to cut firewood.
True.
Everyone owns a broken hatchet because hatchets break. The things break off.
Also true.
Okay, that's two things with it. And number three, show me the photos where you resized them and they match the girl's head. That's ridiculous. Plus, you're the chief of police.
Especially for the technology of that day.
I know. Plus, you're the chief of police. Like, what the hell? But you got to keep in mind, this whole time, people want to see this. They not only want, but they're desperate to see this solved. So they'll damn believe anything that's said. Anything at all. And you're about to see they will believe anything that is put out there. Also, I want you to keep in mind that there's a $1,000 reward for the killer.
It's a pretty good reward.
Putting the killer to justice, which is how much you think that is in today's terms.
10,000?
Oh, yes. 10,000 almost exactly.
Good guess.
Boom.
And this is a little conflict of interest, but apparently in Pueblo or maybe everywhere in the 1930s, even the arresting officers and the sheriff can claim the reward.
Whoa, that is totally a conflict of interest right there.
I know.
I don't know. That sounds pretty legit to me.
Because
Totes.
Yeah.
Because $10,000 to put somebody in prison.
That's more than these floors.
$10,000. That's a big sum.
That's a lot of money.
And that's all
Pay
cash.
off my car.
That's all.
And some of my student loans.
That's all tax-free cash going straight in the pockets.
Oh, it's tax-free.
Yeah, it's tax-free.
Whoa, shit, that matters even more.
Because it's a collection. So how it works is the county puts up $500 and then the businesses and stuff match it. So it was started at $500, but it became $1,000. So it's about the same today, I'd imagine. $10,000 for any information. I see about that, about $5,000, $10,000, unless it's a high profile case.
Did you see what happened with the Astro World concert with
God,
Travis Scott?
Fucking get me started. That guy is such a fucking phony.
I don't know the whole story, but he's being sued for $2 billion.
For what?
That guy is so. I mean, what is with these fucking celebrities going on YouTube and making these apologies? Have you seen that apology?
No.
You can't get more phony than that. He's like rubbing his head. Oh man, I can't believe this happened. Oh, I'll pay for the funerals. No shit, you motherfucker.
What
like,
happened?
No, we don't have to ask you to do that. You have to do that anyway, motherfucker.
So he was at a music festival, and I'm not 100% sure about what happened, but it was like pyrotechnics and went off. And
don't get me started on this new wet ass pussy music, but this rap shit, man, that they're listening to these days. It is nothing but fluff and a lot of effects and all this shit. Anyway, he had a bunch of lights that were going off and it caused seizures and shit like that. The lights, the flickering lights or whatever, caused some kind of mass seizure. I don't really know too much about it, but there was a big panic and everyone started bolting for the gate and like 5 people died or some shit like that. I don't know. Because they were getting trampled. And then he gets on YouTube. Oh my God, dude. You should see he's like, man, I can't believe this happened. He's like rubbing his head. Oh man. I'm like, motherfucker, you just don't even say anything. If you don't give a shit, you'll never give a shit. You know, yeah, you're going to pay for the fucking funerals. Obviously, you don't have a fucking choice. And you're going to get sued. That's called how the world is.
But for $2 billion?
They should sue them for making shitty fucking music. And they should sue all the other fucking artists out there for making shitty fucking music.
You're terrible. You're
You
not
are fucking
Tupac.
terrible.
Go away.
Go away.
Did you say they're not Tupac?
Yes, she did. I was gonna let that go.
You're going to
for
have
her.
a lot of Biggie fans fucking unsubscribing to this
I'm
shit.
just saying. I like the West Coast. I like some Dr. Dre. What can I say?
Nah, the best is the East Coast Atlanta shit. Young Jeezy. Oh, excuse me.
I like Dr. Dre.
It's
Anything
just
Dr.
Jeezy
Dre.
now.
Oh, okay. No Young. What about all the folks who were like Lil at some point?
They're still
Lil
there.
Bow
There's
Wow.
like a little.
But they're no longer Lil. They're just Bow Wow.
There's like a little poopy or something now. I'm like,
Oh, that's Luna.
oh my god, you guys.
Well, the only reason I brought that up was because of the amount of money you're talking about.
Oh,
in
$2 billion.
Why would you even go to that shit anyway? It's fucking shitty music. Like, people listen to that crap. Would you ever go to that shit?
Mm-mm.
You know who also is coming? Freaking Leonard Skinner. Who the fuck cares about that? What's a guitar? A guitar? Oh my god, my grandpa used to play guitar. Those things are still around. Where's all the titties and
People are playing beep bop boop boop boop.
where's the vaginas hanging out? And you know,
It's a vulva.
what, you're not going to orgasm on stage and secrete all over the audience?
That's
How
it.
did we even
That's
get
the
there?
word. Anyway.
How did we get there? I'm sorry. I feel
You
like this
brought
is
us
my
there,
fault.
Jen.
I'm sorry.
You randomly brought up that.
No, it was related because we're talking about like how money is like the amount of money was crazy for back then. And could you imagine back then being sued for $2 billion? They probably didn't even know what $2 billion looked like back then.
This is not only known in his little pueblo. This is the murder of an influential man. He worked in the president's program. And not only that, 2 teenage girls brutally bludgeoned. You know, and not only that, a $10,000 reward. Damn, that's like back then, it's like buying a private island or some shit.
Well, yeah, especially because they're coming off the heels of the Depression.
True.
That word right there gets around, I'm just going to say. And at that same time, there was another hunch. This time, this hunch come from Sheriff George Carroll. And he has his hunch in Cheyenne, Wyoming, in a different state, about the same case. Crazy. He pursued a, quote, feeble-minded vagrant at a train station. The sheriff pursues this guy, and he's a vagrant. The man was from Pueblo, the same town, so automatically he's the killer. He's got to be, right? He has got to be the killer. This is the guy that was in the funeral right here.
Oh.
His name is Frank Aguilar, if you want to describe him.
Gaunt.
I was going to use that word too.
No way.
Yeah.
What is gaunt?
Like
Very skinny. Skin sunken in to his cheeks.
high cheekbones sunken in, and he seems very thin, tall, with
He has a long neck.
a long face.
Well, I think his
too.
neck looks long because he's so basically malnourished. I mean, look at his, you can see his cheekbones.
Yeah.
But then again, it's black and white.
No, there's definitely like he's very thin. Dark hair. It looks like his ears are very uneven.
I think he's tilting his head like, "Yo, what up, girl?"
I can't
I mean,
tell.
his right ear might be a little bit higher than his left ear, but not.
He's tilting his head, babe.
Saying it looks very.
You should go and just straighten it for him. Here, boom. Frank Aguilar, the authorities discovered, was definitely feeble-minded, end quote. Now, this is the one at the funeral. This is the one at the train station. Now, the two sheriffs don't know anything about each other. They never met. But they both have the killer.
So even though Aguilar was feeble-minded, they think that they classify him as feeble-minded, which in today's terms would be someone with an intellectual disability or mentally disabled. They think that he has the wits about him to commit such a crime.
We're gonna get into this whole case is a lot about feeble-mindedness and some other stuff we're going to go into, and what they classified, as morons, idiots, all the terminology they use. I'm going to tell you exactly what it meant back there and how we got to it.
I was summoned to the telephone to talk with Sheriff George J. Carroll of Cheyenne, Wyoming. When I heard his words, I all but dropped the telephone receiver. Chief Grady, he said, we are holding a fellow here who says he killed little Drain girl in your city. He's a nut. He can't even read or write. He's told us 2 or 3 different stories, but he seems to know all about the Drain murder, and I wouldn't be surprised if he is the man you want.
Okay. You guys about to get pissed off real quick. The guy you're looking at right there, that's Joe Arridy. You want to describe him? He's a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Where do you think he's from? He's an immigrant. I'll give you that.
Ireland or England?
What do you think?
I was gonna say like
Arridy. You said
Arridy.
Portugal.
Arridy.
Italy.
You're not gonna believe where he's from, because I didn't either. But his family, he was born here, but his family were direct immigrants from Syria.
Oh,
so at this time, which we're about to get into, there was a lot of immigration, man. This story is all about immigration here. A lot of it. But they were Maronite Christian. I didn't look that up. I don't know what that is.
Mennonite?
No, it said Maronite.
Oh, okay.
It might be Mennonite, but the paper said Maronite. I never heard of that. But he is from Mount Lebanon. So he is Syrian descent. Right there. And he is an immigrant. So his father and mother immigrated.
Lebanese food is really good.
Now I'm going to read what this is the conversation the sheriff had. He sees this boy get off the train there at the train station, and this boy looks feeble-minded here. I'm going to go question him. And this is what happens.
Playing his hunch, Carol began questioning the youth as to his girlfriends in Pueblo. Then suddenly, he fired a vital question at his prisoner.
If you like to go around with girls so much, why do you hurt them?
Well, I didn't mean to.
No. So Joe Arridy he's got the mind, and we're going to talk later about this, but he's got the mind of what the psychiatrist would say between 4 and 6 years old, even now. So very childish, playful, doesn't really know what's going on, like a 4-year-old.
Gotcha.
Okay. If you like to go around with girls so much, why do you hurt them?
Well, I didn't mean to,
was the boy's reply. The prisoner gave his name as Joe Arridy. His age is 21. He freely admitted that he escaped from Colorado home for mental defectiveness a few days earlier. And he as freely admitted that he had killed the 2 little girls in Pueblo.
I did it for the meanness,
he said.
If they let me alone, I'll be good after this.
Good after this. Very weird. That's from one of those old newspapers. What do you guys think about that?
I did it for the meanness.
Yeah, that's an interesting statement.
But what Nicole read earlier is he changed his story 4 or 5 times. So let me tell you a little bit about Brendan Dassey. Oh, I meant...
Wow.
I mean, if you
listen to that proverbial slip.
The freaking paper says he changed his story multiple times. You're about to see how the shit does not add up. No one called it on it because everyone is going to believe the sheriff what's going on. Everyone's just going to buy it because they want to see this murder solved. I don't know. It's weird to me. I guess I'd be the same way. Like I got my own shit to go into. I don't know. Anyway, this is what he said happened. He said he goes in there. He was in Pueblo. He goes in there and he hits. Well, first he turns the light on. so he can see. Wait, the light was off. Okay, that's just one inconsistency, right? So he didn't turn the light on. The light was off. Someone turned it off, but he says he turned the light on. Then he says he has a club with him and he goes into the girl's room. But then he later recants and says, oh, wait, no, I had a hatchet with me. Okay, I had a hatchet with me. And this is his confession, right?
This isn't anything like a forced confession or anything.
No, this is him knowing exactly what he did a week ago. Okay. And then he goes back to his parents' house and he buries the hatchet between the house and the barn. But they got the hatchet at Frank Aguilar's house.
In the firewood.
Right? Now, keep in mind, the two sheriffs are not going to talk. They're going to try to keep this silent until they figure out how to make it work. You're about to see it, but they don't want to come out in the public and say, we got the killer. And then this guy's like, we got the killer. It's like, okay, let's just hold on a second. Let's figure this out. There's $1,000 here, man. He says, Joe Arridy says he goes back to his parents' house and he buries the hatchet between the house and the barn. Okay. Now,
Why were the house and the barn arguing?
What? He says he goes to his parents' house and he buries the hatchet between the house and the barn. They did go to the parents' house. Well, the parents don't have a barn, but okay, they don't have a barn. So where'd you bury it? Oh wait, no, I hid it in a haystack. Okay, well, they don't have a haystack either, but we'll get to that later. He says his mother had hid him in the attic for 8 days after she beat the shit out of him. Now, this is from the book. It says, quote, almost all of Joe's statements in the early confession were proved false within the next few days. Sheriff Carroll also claimed that at no time did he find Joe a, quote, suggestible person. One who would try to please an authority figure by giving the answers he thought the sheriff wanted to hear, end quote. That's crazy. When I saw that right there, because they don't know what false confessions are, but they do know what suggestible is. He says, oh, he's not a suggestible person. So why were false confessions like, why are we still having a problem with that? Even though back then they knew what suggestibility was. They knew that they would make a false. It's the same thing. Suggestibility is basically a false confession. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
Well, I don't know if I would say it's the same as a false confession. If you're suggestible, you're more likely to give a false confession. But that doesn't guarantee that it's a false confession. But I see what you're saying.
The sheriff takes Joe to his parents' house. The one where he was locked up in the attic for 8 days. They were real happy to see him. Joe was real happy to see his mom. I mean, it's been 6 years since they've seen each other. 6 years since they've seen each other.
Wow.
So this was at 1604 Cedar Street. And I'm not going to get into this, but they moved a lot. That's, I guess, what people did, move houses all the time back then. Whatever. What I'm trying to say is there's no way Joe could even know the address. In fact, he gave an address that was completely wrong of his parents' house. They actually had to find him, the actual parents' house that he hid in the basement in, air quotes there. The parents are like, oh my God, Joe, it's so good to see you. It's been 6 years. 6 years. All right. There was an attic, but it had been boarded up and it was undisturbed for years. So the attic that they hit him in after they beat him, you guys see what I'm saying here? This guy did not fucking do it.
Right.
Okay.
I'm with you.
The attic undisturbed for years. It was boarded up. Plus it was completely dusty, and you'd know if someone was sleeping in there, right? There would be, big patches in the dust. The mom, dad, and his brother and sister said they have not spoken to him in 6 years. Not only that, but in the confession, Joe, because at the time the sheriff sees him at the train station, he doesn't know the murder's solved or whatever, because they're still kind of keeping it under wraps, trying to get a confession out of Frank Aguilar. Mm-hmm. So this sheriff doesn't know anything. He thought he got the winner here. At no time during the confession does he mention a second person, especially a Frank Aguilar. At no time. No time. And I feel like that's a pretty fucking important thing. And there's a law enforcement officer, I can't remember. I think I was looking this up somewhere. Anyway, there was a police officer said that it is extremely rare to see a sex crime invasion with more than one person, which makes sense.
Totally.
Sex is like, rape is still intimate. You're not going to go in there just to do that with
multiple people.
Unless it's a gang rape.
Like initiation thing or whatever.
Well, I mean, the initiations don't always include gang rapes.
All right. So before we go any further, now both of these men are looking at death penalty. Both are feeble-minded, very low IQ. Joe Arridy, for example, has an IQ of 46.
Ooh, wow,
that's low.
That is, it's real low. I mean, mine's like 66, right? I don't know.
I have not taken an IQ test.
I don't know how that shit works. All right.
Well, the average is 100.
What was Einstein?
Like 180?
I think 140 is a genius. So he must have been above 140.
I don't know.
All right.
I'd like to know where mine is.
Same.
Now we're in a pickle. We got two sheriffs, both want the reward money. They both now know each other. They both can't be right. The public's not going to buy that shit.
And they also can neither be right.
I know. Okay, that's a good point. So that's a really good point. So if one of them is, let's take Frank Aguilar in Pueblo. You got him. Let's put him to death. I got him. Where's my reward money? But then the media is like, whoa, why is this guy say he has the killer? That actually makes me doubt your statement. Mm-hmm. So you know what I'm saying? So it's a very fine balance they're about to play here with these two feeble-minded folk.
Yep.
To try to, let's see how we can weave this thing together. And while we're at it, let's up the reward to $2,000. Because,
Totes.
I mean, if both sheriffs is going to get, you don't want to split that shit down the middle. You want both sheriffs to get their fucking equal pay, right?
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to cut it here today. On part 2, we're going to meet Joe Arridy, who is the happiest inmate on death row. And John's going to talk about the real reason why Joe Arridy was on death row. A reason that's so much different than what you would think. Also, be sure to head to talkmurder.com and leave us comments on the blog post so that you can get entered in to win this week's Amazon gift card.